Hey folks, Real Honesty with Charmethlan. I'm Charmethlan. This is the third part of my top 20 favorite WCW wrestlers list, where basically I've ranked some and they're fairly controversial, and I'm fairly certain that there are going to be ones I left off. There people are going to be disappointed by. But remember, this is my list. I've already gone from 20 to number 9. So really I just have the top 8. So I'm going to see where I go from here. I might finish this up in this list. I might do another one. I've talked about some of these guys in other videos before. So like some of these guys are on my top 50 favorite wrestlers of all time list. So some of them I might skip over a little bit. I might say, hey, here's why, because I'm just going to be talking about their WCW career. So here we go. Let's just go with it. So number 8, Ricky Steamboat. His time as NWA champion, that great trilogy of matches in '89 were a particular reason why I put him on here. He also had a great match with Flair. I mean, he had those matches with Flair, but he had a great match with Ric Flair at Spring Stampede '94. Often forgotten about classic that they had. And then he had a great feud with Steve Austin over the U.S. title in the summer of '94. And if he hadn't suffered that bad back injury, they might have maybe not traded the title back and forth, but Steve Austin might have gotten the title back on more momentum had he not gotten hurt a little bit later. But it was really, really good stuff. I mean, any match that Steamboat was involved in, tag matches, when he faced Brian Pillman at Halloween Havoc 92, one of my favorite matches of either guy's career, because I thought it was a really, really good classic match, and Pillman starting to show more heelish stuff, and Steamboat worked great in tag teams with Shane Douglas, short-lived with Tom Zank. And again, clarification, this is from 1989 to 2001. Well, late 88, early 89, because that's when Turner acquired the company. But Steamboat's career, sure, it was only about maybe 5 years before he got injured and left the company, retired for a while, and trained his son and this kind of stuff. And unfortunately, his son suffered severe injuries and was no longer able to wrestle. His son, Richie, that is. But Ricky Steamboat, his legacy by that point had already been well established as just being a tremendous worker, tremendous babyface, and his, like I said, his trilogy matches with Flair in '89 was great stuff. And his time in 92, 93, 94, where they're working with William Regal, Steve Austin, Ric Flair again, working in tag teams. Steamboat was always a consummate professional, great performer, and that's why he's here at number 8. There's really not enough good things to say about Ricky Steamboat. Then, number 7, Rey Mysterio. Okay, maybe controversial to put Rey above Ricky, but you gotta think about it. Ricky had that time in late 88, early 89, but had a stint in WWE in late 90, early 91 for a number of months, and then returned to WCW in later 91 as Dustin Rhodes' mystery tag team partner. So technically the years that he spent in WCW during that time until his injury in 94 were about the same as Rey. Rey debuted in 1996, summer of 96. Great matches with Dean Malenko in his debut at Great American Bash 96, which was great stuff. And then he faced Psychosis at Bash at the Beach 96. Won the Cruiserweight title from Dean Malenko the next night on a Nitro, right after the NWO was formed the previous night. And he had a great Cruiserweight title reign for a bit. And really was just he never achieved the same heights when he got back to 98, even though he was such a great worker. 96 was a peak year for him. 97 he did great, facing up against Eddie Guerrero in a match of the year. Candidate actually was match of the year according to some wrestling magazines. Halloween Havoc mask versus title match that he had, which was just great stuff. And of course, Rey wore that, Phantom type bodysuit, Phantom from the comics, the Phantom, not that horrible Billy Zane starring vehicle. Nothing against Billy Zane, he's a great actor. The movie just was absolute shit. But Rey had some good years in WCW. Unfortunately, got masked in '99, and then was kind of treated like a bit of a joke. I mean, him and Conan teamed up. And then the Master P No Limit Soldiers, which was crap. Ray was really just a great performer though. His time in WCW, it's definitely memorable. I mean, especially for the first couple years. Sure, by 99 he was treated like a complete joke, but he was a great performer. And I mean, and was in WWE for a while, and still is doing pretty well in any appearances he makes. But his body's breaking down. But his time in WCW was tremendous, at least for a few years. And he was a big star for them. It's just a shame they didn't really treat him like one after a while. Still, great stuff. Randy Savage, obviously, I mean, I'm going to really refer to my video, my top 50 favorite superstars of all time, where I talk really at length about Randy Savage and just how tremendous of a worker Randy Savage is, because Randy Savage is absolutely great. Randy Savage, one of the greatest of all time. Better than Hulk Hogan. And I will fight you if you disagree. That doesn't mean you can't think Hulk Hogan's great. But just to me, Randy Savage is better. I mean, you know, some of you guys, in fact, all you people that really watch this are really cool people. A lot of you follow me on Twitter, so I ain't gonna actually fight you guys. It's just the trolls that want to say, oh no, Hogan was better. Whatever. But Savage did more for WCW as far as putting people over to me than Hogan did. That's just my opinion. Just my opinion personally. Savage was willing to do business with people. He made a big star out of DDP. And he made stars out of other people, but he made DDP. And I don't want to hear that, oh, Hogan made Goldberg. Because, oh, sure, he did on a live Nitro and whatever, and then they shocked Goldberg, and then Hogan got his title back about 6 months later. I mean, you know, by beating Nash. Finger poke, bitch. But Savage, sure, by 98, when he suffered that knee injury in that match with Hogan, I think it was a match with Hogan, he was pretty much done. I mean, he had come back and like later in 98 and wrestled some in 99 and whatever. But from 94, especially 95, because he didn't really, I don't think he wrestled much except on a couple Saturday Night main events, or yeah, WCW Saturday nights, I mean, until 95, and then he feuded with Flair quite a bit. Randy Savage could always get a top tier performance out of anybody. He was meticulous, worked well. His feud with DDP is really why I'm putting him on here. Because DDP was made man after that. Randy Savage is just a tremendous worker. Absolutely wonderful. Number 5, Arn Anderson. His time as TV champion was great. His time as TV champion, his time as tag champion. He should have been world champion at one point. In my opinion, Arn Anderson should have been world champion. I get why he wasn't, because he was a workhorse. He wasn't somebody that could draw people. But to me, Arn Anderson should have been world champion. He was that good. Now, I don't think he would have been world champion by 97, 98 had he not gotten injured. And that had that surgery not been botched. But I think you could have made a case in 93 for making Arn Anderson champion. That's my personal opinion. I don't know why they didn't do it. Because you would have been able to get money out of him being champion. Now, I mean, granted, at the time Vader was champion. I'm just saying that Arn was such a great worker that the fact that he wasn't world champion still bothers me. I don't know if it bothers him. It's none of my business. But he was a great TV champion. He was a great tag champion. Great workhorse. Could always get a quality match out of somebody. He managed to make the Renegade look good when he put Renegade over. And Renegade won the TV title. And all due respect to the man playing Renegade. I mean, I've said it before. I've talked at length before. I don't hate the guy playing it. I hated the Renegade character, but I did not hate the man himself. The guy himself, unfortunately, severely depressed, killed himself. That's not cool. That's just very unfortunate. But Arn Anderson made the Renegade look good, and yeah, he suffered that neck injury in 96 and had some issues, and unfortunately was unable to wrestle after that and had to retire later in 97. but how well he worked in WCW, he bled WCW. Sure, he was in WWE for a time, but his time, it didn't matter where he was on the card. He always gave a great performance. And Arn Anderson certainly needs to be respected more than he is, and appreciated more than he is. And I'm not saying that people hate the guy. I'm just saying he needs to be remembered for how great of a performer he was. Number 4, DDP. Yeah, I've talked about DDP before. Yeah, he's got the DDP yoga thing. Cool, he's helping people out. That's great. Despite what some idiots might think and call him DD me. I wonder what idiot might say that. I wonder what Mark Madden might think. I mean, people are probably going to say this, but I got sick of Mark Madden and blocked him on Twitter because the guy's a cancer, as far as I'm concerned. The guy's a cancer on society. But back to DDP, who actually is a good guy. Actually knows what it's like to help people. DDP, hard worker, tremendous athlete. Sure, okay, was he the greatest wrestler ever? No, but he certainly worked hard. And the variations of Diamond Cutter he could put on were way better than what Orton could do with the RKO. Even though Orton's hit some pretty good variations of the RKO, DDP could hit the Diamond Cutter literally out of nowhere. And it was amazing what he could do. He could hit it on anybody. He hit from any direction. It was great stuff. 3-time WCW champion, U.S. champion. Great feud with Randy Savage, as I mentioned before. DDP's in my top 50 favorite superstars of all time. Because DDP was a hard worker and tremendous talent and a great guy. The stuff he's doing now is just great, and how he's helping people, change their lives. Okay, sure, he's making money off of it. Well, yeah, it's a business venture. You're kind of supposed to make money off of it. But it is helping people, and that's what matters. But yeah, DDP to me actually is becoming a bigger deal because of DDP yoga than he ever did in the ring. It's great of a career as he had in WCW. His WWE career, let's not talk about that, because this one's about WCW. 2, I don't want to make myself mad. DDP's a great talent. I just freaking love DDP. Again, that feud with Savage. He had a great feud with Chavo Guerrero also. Eddie and Chavo Guerrero in '96. Part of the Jersey Triad with Canyon and Bam Bam Bigelow. Just tremendous stuff. Great hard worker. Really happy he's in the Hall of Fame. Number 3, Dean Malenko. I'm just going to finish the top 8 here because, at this point, if I go with 17 minutes, I go 17 minutes. Dean Malenko, I mean, what can you say about a guy that just supremely skilled? Not the best on the mic. He got a couple decent promos. I'm not saying he was uncharismatic. But that guy, between those ropes, could do no wrong. The precision, the strength he had. Like, looking at that guy, the guy was a little fire plug. The guy could, a little spark plug. That guy could hit a lot of good power moves. And could make his matches with Eddie Guerrero, with Rey Mysterio, with Chris Jericho. His feud with Chris Jericho in '98 was absolutely wonderful. The great emotion that they had in it, and the fact that it brought more out of Dean and it got some fire under him. That was good stuff. Sure, by '99, he was teaming with Benoit, and that's no disrespect to Benoit. But they didn't really know what to do with the guy, so they stuck him in the tag team. Of course, Malenko was part of the Four Horsemen. Cruiserweight champion, great cruiserweight champion, often forgotten about as being a great cruiserweight champion, great U.S., great TV champion. Just a lovely talent to watch in the ring. Lovely to watch a guy in the ring. Because the guy was crisp and smooth, and the guy could hit a great gutbuster off the top ropes. My God, I mean, that one he hit, I think it was on the Clash of the Champions in August of '96. When he hit, he just picked up Ray in a press him and just hit him on the gut. I was like, ow. I mean, just ow. The fact that he never hurt somebody doing that, or at least never hurt anybody in WCW doing that, I mean, I just don't understand how you could do that move and not hurt somebody. That's why wrestlers, honest to God, deserve so much respect for being just such great athletes. That's how good they really are. To do this shit that looks like it hurts, but actually doesn't. Just Dean's a world-class worker. Great talent. Number 2, Ric Flair. Honestly, what can you say about Ric Flair? The guy really was WCW. Sure, he's in WWE for about a year and a half, and had some good matches. But his time is working with Lex Luger and putting Lex Luger over, or putting him over in the sense not giving him the title, but putting him over and making him look unbeatable in '88. Even though Flair would escape with the title, Luger always was in the chase. His Flair's feud with Sting, opening Nitro against Sting, and closing the last Nitro with Sting, making Sting at the first Clash of Champions, even though Jim Crockett still owned it, and telling that great story over the course of about 13 years, basically. His feud with Ricky Steamboat, counting Ric Flair's great matches, I mean, it would take forever. The Black Scorpion thing was crap, but that wasn't Ric's fault. That was Jim Herd, because Jim Herd was an idiot, and Ole Anderson didn't apparently know what the fuck he was doing. Which is weird, because Ole Anderson seemed to have a good mind for wrestling. He has a racist mind, but he has a good mind for wrestling. Ric Flair, in '93, of course, teamed with Arn Anderson. They were tag team champions. He feuded with Vader at Starrcade '93, won the championship, held it for a while, feuded with Hogan. Feuded with Hogan, put Hogan over Bash at the Beach '94. Was always in the title picture, at least for, the next few, I was in the title picture for the next few months, and then lost a career-ending match, cage match, and then was back working within a few months. I mean, that was shit. He wanted to be off for at least 6 months to a year, I think, if I heard right in interviews, and he wasn't. But Flair, his feud with Eddie Guerrero and the U.S. title run that Flair had, which it was weird, but Flair really did make the U.S. title mean something, even though the U.S. title was still respected at that point, despite the fact that Hacksaw Jim Duggan had held it in '94, because Hacksaw is a shit worker. He just, at least at that point, he was. Flair, though, great stuff. I mean, his return in '98 and the great pop that he got, which, it's about a year from now, but I will do a 20-year reflection on when Ric Flair returned to Nitro in September of '98. So, I mean, I would say look for that, but we got to get to 2018 and get through it first, provided the world ain't flattened. Seriously, but anyway, let's not get too serious here. Ric Flair is just, you can't say enough good stuff about the guy. Great worker, just great worker, the man, but not quite number one in WCW. And who is that? The man he made at the first Clash of Champions, Sting. And why? Because Sting was always in WCW. From the time he came in when Jim Crockett Promotions still had it, to when Ted Turner bought the company, until the time they turned out the lights, Sting stayed in WCW. And he stayed through a lot of shit booking. He took a backseat to Hogan. Before Hogan came in, Sting was world champion a couple times. Had a great feud with Vader. The Black Scorpion thing was shit. He had a great U.S. title feud where Rick Rude ended up taking the title from him. Becoming the Crow Sting. Doing a whole bunch of great stuff. Sting, it's really hard to encapsulate his career. Sting and Flair, it's really hard to encapsulate their careers in like a short video like this. So again, I encourage you to check out my top 50 favorite wrestlers list, which I think with the top 10 I started putting the names in there. So Sting, I believe, is in the top 10 if I recall right, and so is Flair. But just Sting's career, I mean, it was ups and downs as far as like his booking, but Sting always, he was the franchise of WCW, the true franchise of WCW, and was the guy. He was the guy there, whether he was booked like it or not. He was the one guy people could rely on. People did not want to boo Sting in 1999, and they tried to turn him heel, and it didn't fucking work. But all that bad booking aside, Sting bled WCW, and he was WCW. And that's why he's number one. I mean, even with all those, even with the good and the bad feuds, good and the bad angles, good and the bad booking, Sting always was there in WCW. And that's why he's number one. So, anyway, that's what I gotta say about that. So, what do you guys think of my top 20 favorite WCW wrestlers list? What do you think of the 3 parts here? Do you agree? Do you disagree with what I said? Like, share, comment, subscribe. Twitter link is in the description. It's been Real Honesty with John Ritlin. I'm John Ritlin. I will see you soon.